Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to present some experiments that are part of my bachelor's thesis. So the main topic that I studied is visual brain decoding, which aims to, next slide, please. Sorry, can you move the slide? And the next one. So, okay, so the main topic that I studied was visual brain decoding, which has the aim to give interpretations about external stimuli from brain recorded information. So commonly this can be classified as three other tasks. We have classifications. So let's say that we have a data set with pictures of apples and of oranges, and I want to be able to tell if someone saw an apple or an orange. We have also retrieval, when we want to get back some viewed image from a set of images. And the most complex one is the reconstruction, which aims to generate the image from scratch. Next slide, please. Okay, so to give a general intuition about this topic, we normally cannot directly map information from the brain to raw pixels. So we at first have to extract features from the image. Then we map the brain information to those features. We predict those features, and then we can want to reconstruct the image based on the predicted features. So ideally, we would want to have some way of some rejection between those features and the image, to be able to get images of better and better quality, because we are limited by how closely can we mimic the original image from those features. Okay, so this topic can be classified in multiple orthogonal ways. They are independent from each other. The first type would be the brain imaging technique used. And I mentioned on the slides three techniques, fMRI, EEG, MEG, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. Although EEG is the most flexible one, being only a helmet, it doesn't have the spatial resolution that fMRI has. So that's why most studies focus on fMRI, and I also chose to focus on this technique in my experiments. Then the next classification is based on the image generation technique. So in the last 5 years, when this field has seen many advances, the most used techniques were generative adversarial networks. And I put here a paper name that was relevant for this, and data diffusion models. And here we mostly encounter two variations. We have stable diffusion and versatile diffusion. Stable diffusion accepts text as input, and versatile diffusion also works with images and textual embeddings. Then another two classifications can be done based on the number of subjects. So we have single subject models and multiple subject models. So what this means is that when I have a single subject model, I only train the model with the data from one subject. And when I have multiple subject model, I try to aggregate together multiple subjects, or to scale in a way. This is a challenge because people have different brain structures and sometimes different ways of encoding information. So it's not trivial to transfer one model from one subject to another. There have been studies in this area as well, because it might be an efficient approach for instance, complete locked-in patients, to just train on as little data as possible, and then use some model from a healthy person. Then based on the brain mapping pipeline, there are multiple types of classifications, and this can be expanded longer. So we have single stage or multiple stage pipelines. Some pipelines want to at first reconstruct just a blurry version and then enhance that blurry version with additional semantic embeddings. I think I didn't mention in the previous slide, but the diffusion models especially rely heavily on contrastive language image pre-trained embeddings obtained by vision transformers. So these methods as well use them. And then we have a classification based on the commonly used models. So at first there was a regression, which was just a simple mapping from the brain space to the feature, to the clip embedding space. And this obtained good results for some papers. And then this evolved into multi-layer perceptrons and transformers. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to talk briefly about the data set that's largely used in this field. It's the Natural Scenes Dataset, which appeared in 2022. Contrasting to previous datasets, this one uses a larger variation of images. There are images taken from Microsoft Common Objects in Context database. And most papers use the same training and test split with the numbers that I specified there. This study consisted of 8 subjects who were performing multiple sessions of viewing images and brain scanning. So out of these 8 subjects which performed such a laborious activity, I can call it, only 4 finished all the training, all the scanning sessions, all 38 sessions. So these are the most commonly studied by other papers. Also most papers use the same preprocessing. So there's a GLM denoise at the beginning, and then there's an established region of interest, NSD general, out of which the voxels are flattened and turned into a simple array. And here I put the array length. So this emphasizes the fact that there's a variability even in this voxel length depending on the subject. So now I'm going to explain some parts of the related work that I relied on. So there's Brain Diffuser, which was published in Nature, which was a highly influential paper on this topic. They used just simple regression, but they had 2 stages. First was a very deep variational autoencoder stage when they reconstructed the blurry image, as you can see on the diagram, which was then followed by a second stage when they used that image and learned CLIP embeddings, both visual and textual, to reconstruct the original image with versatile diffusion. So you can see here an example of an airplane and the result that they obtained. Then, then there are 2 other papers that I mentioned here. One is a really recent one, BrainGuard, which appeared this year, and they put an emphasis on privacy. They say that maybe it's not good to aggregate data from multiple individuals for privacy reasons. So they made a federated learning approach. And then there's MindFormer, which used IP adapter for generating those embeddings. So previously I said that most papers use visual and textual clip embeddings. They used only a smaller amount of embeddings, and we also adopted the same framework as the IP adapter, but they used visual transformer inspired architecture. So their model is has a lot more parameters than ours. So there's a trade-off between the model complexity and the decoding performance. So in my work, I started with some research questions. Given the fact that I was also limited by hardware from start, I wanted to improve the scalability and efficiency of the current state-of-the-art methods. And also, when questioning this, a second question might appear: do current methods extract redundant or non-informative feature embeddings, which don't actually help the process? So our approach, here I briefly explain again the fact that in the literature, the number of embeddings that is commonly used is 257 visual patched embeddings and 77 textual embeddings. However, we used only 16 target embeddings, which were obtained from a pre-trained IP adapter plus model. I'm going to elaborate further on that later. And this was first used by Mindformer, but to the best of our knowledge, they were the only ones to use this approach, and these embeddings were not explored for other model architectures. And we performed experiments on both a single subject regression framework, and we adapted BrainGuard to work with this type of embeddings. So regarding IP adapter, it was originally designed to enable image-based prompting for text-to-image diffusion models. And it obtained good performance compared to other image-to-image models with only 22 million parameters. The authors released multiple variations: IP adapter, IP adapter plus, full, plus XL, and they're publicly available on Hugging Face. And in our experiments, we used IP adapter plus, the same as Mindformer, which offers 16 positive embeddings. And we also tried to generate embeddings with the other alternatives. And to measure how reliable this generation is, we at first just generated, extracted the embeddings, then generated back the image without having any brain-related module, just to see how close can we mimic the initial image. And we found IP adapter plus to be a good trade-off between the quality and the size. So here is a diagram of the regression framework architecture. We have the array of voxels. So this is the single subject framework, and we have the array of voxels. Then we have 16 regressors, one for each embedding, each predicted embedding. And after they are trained, we use those to reconstruct the image with stable diffusion. Next slide, please. And here is the BrainGuard inspired framework. So this is really similar to the original BrainGuard framework, except that we made three major changes. We replaced the CL IP embeddings with IP adapter obtained embeddings. And we also replaced versatile diffusion with stable diffusion. And additionally, they had a prediction strategy that used so-called memories from the training data. So they would predict some embedding, and then they would aggregate that with other similar image embeddings from the training data. And we thought that this could turn into data leakage, so we didn't use this. Sorry, yeah. So this framework is a federated learning framework, and it consists of multiple client models and the global model, and they are trained in multiple rounds. So on each round, the client models are trained individually for all the subjects or for subjects in parallel. And then after each round, they are aggregated into a global, into the global model. And then there's some kind of synchronization happening between those individual models and global models I'm going to elaborate on further. Yeah, so the strategy for synchronization, we use the same one as they described. They keep the foundation layers the same. They basically copy the intermediate layers, and they used some adaptive tuning for advanced layers. So here is a dynamic fusion learner module, and this is used for the advanced M layers of the module, where M is a fixed number. They trained, this is trained dynamically based on the similarity between the weights of the layers of the previous round's global and local models. Next slide, please. Here is the architecture, but I'm going to skip over it because I don't think we have much time left. Okay, and here are the obtained results. So for each regression, we obtained these results and here we reported results for the individual subjects. As in other works, we saw that subject 1 has the best accuracy compared to others. But maybe they're not so interesting as the next ones from the BrainGuard framework that I'm going to share on the next slide. Okay, so here for BrainGuard, we perform multiple variations. We tried to vary what would be the optimal number of local iterations that would happen for each client before they would be aggregated into the global model, and we found this to be 1. So we would want to aggregate as often as possible in order to ensure good accuracy. For all these results, we used the established 8 metrics used in the literature. The first 4 are low-level metrics. They measure color, edges, shadows, shapes, and the last 4 are higher level embeddings, and they focus on semantics. And you can see a clip included here, which is suggestive for this. We also performed some studies on the number of layers synchronized, and I think not all of them are included here, but mostly we saw that if we use a larger number of layers, then we get better results. Next slide, please. And also on the hidden layer size, we performed some studies, and we saw the performance decrease when lowering the size. Next slide. Okay, and here is a comparison between our models and the other models in the literature. And with bold, you can see the top scores for each metric. On efficient net B, we obtained the same accuracy as MindEye2, which is commonly regarded as the state-of-the-art method. However, this metric has been criticized by some other papers as not being so suitable for assessing this task. And with both our frameworks, we managed to surpass some older methods from 2023, and across some metrics, also some methods from the last few years. And one interesting thing is that on the last 2 metrics, we surpassed BrainGuard, which was the so for the BrainGuard architecture, we surpassed BrainGuard on the last 2 metrics by using less embeddings, which could signal the fact that indeed it might be some redundancy there. Next slide, please. Okay, and here are some images. So we have a comparison with other works. We took these images from other published papers. In the first image, you can see that we have a vase of flowers, and some other papers got really things, got things that are really not that. Then you can see the motorcycle is pretty accurately reconstructed, and also the man sitting on the bench, and the birds are, yeah, they seem to look okay. And next slide, please. Here we have some additional good pictures for the first three subjects. We can see they have a good reconstruction of colors, and the semantic meaning is conserved. It's difficult to reconstruct letters, for instance, for the stop sign, even if we didn't use some brain modules. So even if you ask ChatGPT to write something with letters, it would often struggle with that. So it's not surprised that we didn't manage to reconstruct the stop sign. Next slide, please. And also some bad pictures. So you can see in the first row that the bird was turned into a giraffe by the second person who viewed it. And on the second row, we saw a giraffe with 8 legs, which might be actually 2 giraffes. And then we reconstructed two giraffes, which might seem like, okay, there are 2 and not 1, but they're different. And then an interesting thing is that the framework struggles with images when we have small and multiple elements. For instance, the donuts are turned into some meat-based dishes. This is because the clip embeddings struggle with information about counting objects in an image, and they don't encode that information really well. And then you can also see a pretty creepy image on the last row, where the fruits were turned for the second person who viewed them into some dog-looking face. Next slide, please. Okay, so in the future, this field will probably improve toward, will probably go towards improving the scalability and the generalization and video decoding. And also there are some experiments in trying to decode imagined scenes. So these are all viewed scenes, but they try to just read the minds of the person in some experiments. I think that's a bit science fiction, but we might see that happening more and more often in the future. Next slide, please. Okay, so in conclusion, we presented some efficient brain-to-image pipelines, and we incorporated IP adapter into into 2 frameworks. One is a really simple one compared to most of the ones seen, and the other is an adaptation of a BrainGuard, and we obtained good results despite having only 5% of the embeddings used by common methods. So I think this is the end of the presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I hope that I made you a bit more interested into this field.